Hi, this is Regina Y. Favors with PreSingles Counseling. This is part of my PreSingles Counseling Coaching Curriculum, where I design lessons and case studies based in the psychology literature on different topics. This PreSingles Counseling is targeted to three types of individuals. The first individual is a person who is interested in becoming single. That means that person is not necessarily interested in dating or entering the marriage market. The second individual is a single individual who is interested in entering the dating market. And then the last individual is a single dating individual who is interested in marriage. So take some time to listen to this lesson and or case study. Please leave a comment and I will reply. In addition, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you are interested in further topics. This is PreSingles Counseling, a PreSingles Counseling Coaching Curriculum. Thank you for visiting the channel. This lesson is subject to fair use, where I will comment, criticize, offer research, as well as teach and provide scholarship. Single women should be knowledgeable about what it means to be single and how to navigate their singleness regardless of a decision to date or marry. This means that single women should take the necessary time to learn about their singleness, set academic, professional, and personal goals, and contemplate whether they are ready to enter the dating market. Single women should never enter the dating market without a goal and a plan. Therefore, one of the most important aspects of being a single woman is that you can plan your transition, establish a time schedule, set mating preferences, and learn about how men and women date. PreSingles counseling is based in a decision to enter or exit singleness. PreSingles is the time period between single and contemplation of dating. There is a difference between being a single individual and being a single individual who has entered the dating market, which includes the sex market. PreSingles counseling reflects the processes by which an individual researches, learns, and plans to navigate life either as a single, a dating single, or a single interested in marriage. So PreSingles counseling is defined as the research processes and planning for entering a state of singlehood. The main target audience is 18 to 45 years of age, man and woman. However, middle school to high school students are considered. Processes include single to single, so that is that transitional time prior to entering the dating market at any age. Single to dating single, that transitional time prior to considering marriage. And then single dating to marriage, that transitional time prior to and after premarital counseling. PreSingles counseling is the immediate strategy of adopting life plans to manage the self as a responsible individual adult up to and including a major life change. So here are some pre-lecture discussion questions. So are you single? This question means single without separation or dating rotation or on again, off again, boyfriend, or any other romantic relationship, including rebounding and dating. Why are you single? Are you enduring a recent separation from a romantic partner? Do you plan to remain single? What are your plans to change from single to a member of a romantic couple or marriage? Do you have a financial plan as a single woman? And you will see throughout this lecture, this orientation course, that I focus most, if not all, of the topics on having a financial plan. We oftentimes make unsound decisions based upon the fact that we don't have enough money, or we are looking for money, or we are looking for someone to cover us and we are not covering ourselves financially. So keep that in mind. You will see throughout this orientation multiple references to financial planning. Pre-discussion. So what is your SWOT? So I'm using SWOT that you would normally see in business as a way to get you to engage your own personal SWOT. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? So after each section, I will ask you what your SWOT is. 2-year plan, so understanding transition. And I push this as a very important narrative because this is where I failed, and I usually teach from where I failed. So 2-year plan, school and work. Develop an academic transition plan during the junior year of high school for college and or work. Develop an academic transition plan during the junior year of college for graduate and or work. So if you know your field enough to know that your field requires you to have a college degree to enter it, that you just can't enter the field and do a certain job without that college degree. There are fields that do not require a college degree. You don't even need a certificate, right? You just come in, apply for the job. It's an entry-level position, lower-level position. But if you wanted to move up, you may have to have a certificate, 2-year associate's degree, and then later a college degree. But you should know if your field, if your job requires knowledge beyond high school. And if it does, you're going to have to sit and take some kind of class, right? You should know if your field requires you to have a bachelor's and or master's degree, especially the master's. If in order for me to teach at the community college level, I have to have a master's degree. But if I wanted to teach at the university level, I have to have a PhD or be enrolled in a doctoral program. I would be prohibited from teaching at the university level. There may be exceptions to the rule. It depends. One of those exceptions could be that I'm the kind of person who brings in grant money as a faculty member, right? But they still might require that I get the doctoral degree because it is a university, and for accreditation purposes, students must be taught by a person with a doctoral degree. Develop an academic transition plan for postgraduate employment. Develop a career transition plan from entry level to supervisor, from part-time to full-time work, and then develop a career transition plan from supervisor to manager. So I included both school and work because you gain insight into your future field while you are a student. And that's how I believe it is. That's why I believe it's important that you understand academic transition. Plus, you also have the professor standing before you who can tell you what to do, what to expect. You may not want to become a professor, but usually professors have worked in the business aspects of their fields. So they have decided to teach or have been teaching, but they also have a full-time job in other areas. The career transition plan is important because if you see yourself managing people, it's just in you. There's nothing wrong with seeing that. It is just in you. So then most oftentimes your jobs now have, professional development coursework that you can take, and it's for free. And usually they have supervisor certificates. There are also programs at the community college level where you could sit for four courses to get a certificate as well. Then from part-time to full-time work, do you want to remain part-time in perpetuity? you know, or are you interested in full-time work? Okay, so now what does the job require in terms of you being able to get on full time? And that's going to take some time to realize that as well, to research that. Also, from supervisor to manager, you know, supervisor may just require a certificate, but manager might require an actual degree. And it just depends on the job level, the department, the actual work that you are doing, you know. So you have to talk to people and ask people questions and then conduct an information interview. So 2-year plan financial, develop a basic financial plan that includes base income and expenses. This requires staying on a job for 2 years without gaps. Income and expenses will give you a base for how to plan from 2 years. If you make $20,000 in your first 2 years, then the goal should be to increase those annual earnings by a certain percentage. This depends on your profession and industry. The most important thing once you either graduate from college or graduate from high school is to be consistent and build a record of work. Stay on the job. You are oftentimes given some flexibility and leeway when you're young, especially between 20 and 25. If you've job hopped between in 2-year increments, you're kind of given a little bit of leeway because it's just expected that you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to find the right type of job or the right type of place for you. You thought this would be it. Now you realize, no, this is it. So you're given some kind of leeway. But you can't be a person who continues to jump from thing to thing. Eventually, you're going to have to get somewhere and sit down and, settle down. And if I was you, I would give it, 2 to 5 years, but at least those 2 years, you're building a base income. And so that you can pay your bills, that you can pay any other types of expenses. And then you look at the money that you're getting every year and you begin to assess how much more you could make or how much you need to continue to make in order to stay consistent. Develop a 2-year financial plan that includes an emergency savings fund. So there should be funds for an immediate situation such as a flood or a natural disaster. There should be a 2-year plan to save a percentage of your income for emergency. Review process by quarter, end of year, and then by 2-year. I think this is where we go wrong. A lot of times we get very settled in whatever it is that we're doing. And so we believe that as long as we have a job and can take care of ourselves, a little bit of money in the bank is not going to hurt anybody. But what happens, as we realized that the pandemic purged a lot of jobs, just completely purged a lot of jobs, purged industries. And it was hard for people to navigate. Some folks were evicted. Some people didn't get a paycheck. And so creating an emergency savings fund is very important. It's also important when you're thinking about being part of a flood or natural disaster. As soon as the mayor or the governor of a state tells you to expect a hurricane, you need to go get some money out immediately, because it will be very difficult for you to get anything out once that hurricane hits, right? So that means you need to save money, like a percentage of your money for emergencies. So if you're saving in mutual funds and CDs, you may not be able to get to them, get access to them quickly. You need to almost think like rich people. Rich people will have investments in investment products, right? But they also have a safe in the house and they have money in that safe. And so you need to be able to make the transition should something happen. And then you sort of review your process, how well you are saving by quarter, end of year, and then by 2 year. and you notice that you are very consistent at saving $10 from every paycheck or $50 from every paycheck for 12 months. Okay, now you look at that amount, whatever that amount looks like, right? It's going to be $1,200, right? If you're getting paid every 2 weeks. So that tells you that you can save $1,200 a year. So then if you are interested in increasing that, then you could say, let's save $100 every paycheck, paid twice a year, and then see where you are. And then you begin to build. And I've heard Susie Orman and other financial strategists say that you need to have at least 6 months of an emergency fund. So that always includes your rent, right? Your shelter costs, but then other types of bills that you have to pay or something like that. And so that is something that I believe everybody struggles with. There are a few people who got it right, who got a good understanding of money early in life. They might have been the people who had like the little lemonade stand or something like that, but regardless, something about them, they had a good understanding early enough to be the types of people who can manage money well. Develop a 2-year financial plan that considers financial investment options. So financial investment into financial products is always predicated on financial capacity and willingness. Investing a percentage of income into a mutual fund, retirement fund, or stock market is predicated on financial capacity. Investing into the stock market but not being able to pay rent and related shelter costs reveals lack of full financial capacity and financial understanding for how money should work. And then creating a financial plan that considers financial capacity is key to sustaining investments. So there is a difference between financial capacity and willingness. You know, people say if you just save a little bit of something from like $5 out of each paycheck, you know, that's something. And you have heard some few stories about people who only made so much a year and was able to pay off all their debts and things like that. Financial capacity and willingness meaning, are you willing to move yourself into a certain kind of understanding that I got to save money, period. I got to stop spending in this area so I can begin to save money so I can have an emergency fund. It's not always just about financial capacity. Is mostly about our willingness, because we will complain about saving, but then turn around and go and pay for nails and hair and shoes and clothes, and it costs much more than that. You're not going to go and find something for $5, you know, unless you're going to Goodwill or a garage sale. But there is financial capacity. Okay, say for instance you only make $20,000 a year, and that's barely that. And you say, well, how am I going to save any money when I'm only making $20,000 a year? And it depends too, you know, if you are living at home or if you are living with yourself. And it looks like the $20,000 only covers just your shelter costs and food and transportation. Of course, your phone, right? So it may be hard to do, but I am changing my understanding about that, because, you know, I have bought coffee from Starbucks. I have bought, you know, shoes and clothes and things like that. And I have realized that I actually had the money to save, but I wasn't willing to do it. So when you're thinking about your 2-year financial plan, look at it from the vantage point of what am I willing to save, so that I can still be able to do what I want to do, but I still make sure that I have a actual savings just in case something happens. I think it's important that you should be able to pay your base expenses, which are your rent and, you know, shelter and food and phone, right? Because we can't do really without phone today. And then some form of cable, even if it's the lowest form of cable, unless you have internet, and because you can watch everything on the internet. But as long as you have made sure that you have the full financial capacity to meet your base expenses, then look at your willingness from there. Look at the money left over and what are you willing to take from that money, what percentage you are willing to take from that money to put into a investment product. So, conclusions, beliefs about mistakes. So I don't have a full conclusion. I just thought that this right here, this quote from the film Unfaithful, was very important. When I put this presentation together, I thought about it. The movie had just come on HBO, so it was very fresh in my mind. But this is the conversation that Paul Vartan is having with Connie Sumner in Unfaithful. Richard Gere was her husband. And she was talking about mistakes or something like that. And Paul Vartan made a very interesting statement that I did not catch all the times I have watched this film. I did not catch it until now. And it could be because it was for me to catch it now. There is no such thing as a mistake. There is what you do and what you don't do. And it is as simple as that. It is black and white. It is not issues of gray. That there is the thing that you do and then there's the thing that you don't do. And so if Connie did not want to have an affair, then she didn't have to do it. There was nothing that forced her to have an affair. She forced herself. She sought it out. She visualized it. She sought it out. She made the call. She visited him multiple times and she had an affair, period. She had already had an affair in her heart emotionally even before she got there. But there is no such thing as a mistake. There is what you do and what you don't do. And that's what I want to leave you with, that even if we're not talking about affairs in this pre-singles counseling coaching curriculum orientation, that if you find yourself getting into the dating market and the sex market, and then you get pregnant or something like that, and you didn't intend for that. You say that out loud. I didn't intend for that. I wasn't planning for that. Well, you actually were planning for that, because if you didn't use any protection, right? You were planning for it. But this is something. If you date with purpose, if you date with a goal, as a single individual, this will help you to hedge against that particular issue. If you don't want to have sex that to lead with a baby, then you need to push for the partner to use contraception, or you need to push for yourself to use contraception, or perform a number of strategies like the pull-out game. I don't know. But this is you living a single life with purpose, with a plan, with a goal, so that things like this just don't pop up. And you say, oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I should have done better. Okay. Because you can't say that all the time. Once the child is here, that's the rest of your life. Once you get with the wrong partner who might introduce you to drugs, that is an addiction that's going to take some time to get over and resolve. Once you get involved with somebody that you finally and fall in love and find out that he's married, that's hard to get out of. You can get out of it, but it's hard to get out of. So that's why it's important to think about being single, understand, date with a person, establish objectives, because if you don't, you're going to find that what you do in your personal life is going to affect your academic and professional lives, especially your professional. You don't want Paul Vartan to come visit you at your job because you waited too long to cut it off, right? So I'm going to leave you with this as you think about your singleness and whether you want to stay single to single, whether you want to begin dating single to dating single, or whether you are interested in marriage, single dating, or dating single to single leading to marriage, right? So that's something that I want you to think about. And I thank you very much for listening to this lecture. All right, so hopefully you were able to gain insight from this video discussion. Please like, subscribe, and visit. So please like the video, hit the notification bell for more discussions. I am re-uploading all of my audios, so I needed to make some changes to them. You can visit my website for more content at reginayfavors.com. If you want to send me an email, you can send an email reginayfavors@yahoo.com. Please also purchase the book. It's going to come out in spring 2021, so I had to make changes to my book to update it, and I also updated the title. So the original title was Bait, Hook, and Switch, Confessions of a Rebound Girl, and I have updated the title to Toxic Encounters, Why People Pursue Rebound Relationships. So right now I'm still basically editing it, and I want to make it available in spring 2021. So thank you very much for visiting my channel, and I am Regina Y. Favors. Have a great day.